You are listening to Purpose PR Agency Radio, where I connect you with celebrities, media personalities, motivational speakers, CEOs, and inspirational authors. Each guest on the podcast episode is here to give you amazing jewels and help take your brand to the next level. So sit back, relax, and enjoy this amazing podcast episode. And I'm your host, Purposeful Portia. Hello, 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 and welcome to another spectacular episode of Purpose PR Agency Radio. And I am your guest, Purposeful Portia. Today we have an amazing person, and her name is Chandra Gore. She's out of the Northern Virginia area, and her footprint is, I would say, from Northern Virginia all the way DC and Pennsylvania. And she can elaborate on that a little bit more. But let me tell you about this phenomenal woman. She's one of my colleagues. Chandra is also a publicist, so you know that's a very, very personal space to my heart. So I'm excited to have another publicist on this podcast episode. She has her own consulting firm, a boutique public relations consulting firm, Chandra Gore Consulting. Also, she has other streams of income. She's a multiple entrepreneur and multiple CEO. She has SCM Productions Company, also Greater Northern Virginia Comedy and Film Festival, and Urban Flight Foundation. She's also been blessed enough to be a board member with Johnny Appleseed. So the one great thing about Chandra is she has something very similar like myself. My father was an entrepreneur, and just like her, growing up, seeing our fathers own a business instead of just being an employee is amazing to your children, because you're teaching your children how to own something, how to operate, how to run, how to be in charge and not have to always answer to someone else. You are the boss. So she was blessed enough to grow up seeing her father be an entrepreneur, and she started at 19 years old her own baking company. And what happened is, because she was so good at her craft, it bloomed into a full service baking and catering company. And I'm sure those who know me know that I did the same thing. So I'm really digging this podcast episode, because it seems like she and I are cut from the same cloth. So I don't want to talk too much about her bio. I want her to tell, my listeners all the great things, all the great advice that she learned from not only just being under an entrepreneur spirit from her father, but even the good things that she learned working at Department of Defense, which is a Fortune 500 company. So some of us who are working for companies, we want to start on our own. And it's always great to hear from someone who is doing the same thing, and you want to get great tips. So welcome to the show, Chandra.
Thank you so much for having me. I am so honored to be here speaking with you today.
Well, I'm super honored that you're here, especially because we are two of the same, and we're going to have a fantastic conversation today. And I'm just praying that we'll be able to bless not 1, 2, or 3 people, but a multitude of people who want to walk in our footsteps.
I'm so excited. I hope so today. From behind the scenes.
Right. So let me jump right into the interview. I mean, you have so much going on, and a lot of people and they're not all the same thing. So a lot of people, such as, you or myself, we're multi-talented, and you could do a lot of things. Like I can, some people don't even know that I had my own interior decorating business. I was in culinary school. Yeah. So when we're done this episode, I'm going to show you some pictures, but of the things that I've done. But I'm saying that because you go from, a production company Then you go into, comedy and film festival, then Urban Flight Foundation. Like, where do you have the time, and how do you organize these thoughts to come from just a thought into a full business?
I would say it's the quest for success keeps me focused and organized.
Mm-hmm.
I think having multiple things, having my hands in multiple things, keeps me going.
Mm-hmm.
I do have ADHD and a couple of other disorders that actually, everyone's like it's a detriment, but it's actually a great thing that actually helps me to keep going.
Mm-hmm.
My attention span is focused, so it gives me that. Each one of the companies that I've built have come from a passion of mine, mainly for my children, their legacy, and plus, to honor my father and his hard work, so it's like those kinds of things. It's like, it keeps me going.
Right.
And it keeps me excited, yeah.
Right. And, that's a good platform to talk about, because quite recently, I believe it was last year, Solange talked about having ADHD, and she's so creative. And actually, I mean, truthfully, I believe a lot of us have it and it's not diagnosed. You know what I'm saying? And it's like we're able to tap into our creative side and feel a safe space. But I know me, I get bored quick. So I'm like, okay, I need something else really, really quick to keep me stable. And the creative side of my brain is what kicks off more so than the business side. I'm good at the business side, but the creative side is my warm and fuzzy. Is that how you feel also?
Yes, because I'm more creative in the sense, like, I'm not good at interior design. Like, I would say that, like, I'd put a chair in a room and that's it. Like, but I can take someone's idea from, okay, I want to launch this, and I can actually have a vision in my mind, and I can tell them exactly what trajectory they need to be on for the next 5 to 10 years, and if they follow the steps, they'll be successful.
Right.
And that's how my creativity comes out. And I commend you on the interior design.
Thank you. I will take that chair that you just put in a room and I'll hook it up. So
that's what I'm saying. You make it look like something that came from a luxury 5-star place. On the other hand, it's a room.
That is so funny, but it's true, and I just think that it was it was a good thing for you to say that, because I think a lot of people who have, just certain things that we deal with in our own personal space make us feel like it's a pause for us to just move forward. Having our own business, and you're showing A, you're a woman, B, you're a mother, C, you know what I mean? Like, you have so many things that will make you say, I don't want to do that. I'll just go to work. But even though you did go to work at one time, you were able to still say, you know what? I'm going to start my own on top of it. So that's amazing. That's amazing.
That's what I did. I had no choice. But because I went from a corporate event planner role, working directly with a board of directors, and it was training. And I'm like, I am losing sleep, losing hair, not losing weight though. But I'm doing all of these things and driving myself crazy when I can do this stuff for myself. Like, I don't know what that stress is that people have but I haven't experienced that one yet.
Yeah, girl, my stress, I'll pop some popcorn. Yeah, I'm like,
I have never had this type of stress, but if I'm going to stress myself out, I'm going to stress myself out for something that's going to benefit my family. Right.
I agree. I really do agree. So tell us about the SCM Productions company. Tell us about that.
So SCM Productions is my comedy and video production company. So I actually shot 2 Amazon specials, which whether they're going to go on Amazon, on my Amazon channel. Where I took comedians who would have normally not get the national exposure. I funded it myself, produced it, directed it, wrote it myself. All they had to do was bring their talent to the table. And so I'm currently, it's been a little bit shelved because of the music. It has to be right, and a couple other things. But when it comes out, I know it's going to be right.
Right.
So there are people who would not have gotten who would have gotten the opportunity, so I'll give it to them. You know, so that's, and I host open mic nights and stuff like that. So yeah.
So does your production company, is that your production company does that Greater Virginia Comedy Film Festival? Is that what?
The Genova Comedy Festival is a standalone company. It's the first one of its kind in Northern Virginia. Nice. It's, you know, and being that it's founded by a woman, team, and I didn't have a team. This is the first year I didn't have a team. I had some great producers come out, and a lot of the help I got was from seasoned vets that actually run their own rooms and stuff like that. So I was very excited.
Very good. Very good.
So that's where, like, the sponsorships and stuff, I had to do all of that, the advertising, the graphics, all of that stuff I did on my own.
Well, that's the blessing of being a publicist, because you know the branding, you know, I mean, so like I said to you in the very beginning, listeners, like she's multiple serial entrepreneur, and I have a lot of, you know, I'm blessed enough to have a lot of guests on that understand that concept. But here's the thing, you know, to my listeners, you don't always have to hire someone to do stuff. Like, she was in a pickle, so she did it herself, right? So that's exactly what's going on. And not only did you do that, but you were able to set up, you're setting up this Northern Virginia Film Festival. You were able to do like the marketing. You even wrote the skits that the people were in for the SCM production company, right?
Right. So I formatted the show. The first show, I actually hosted the second one I did on Black Friday. I actually sold out the taping on Black Friday at 10:30 at night, and I had to add like tickets to the event because I marketed it and people were showing up at 10:30 at night for a comedy show taping. Wow! Like, and I hosted. Like, someone's like, "Why do you?" Because I wear dual hats. Like, I'm a humorist as well at times, so. It was nothing for me to get up on stage and host, get the laugh, and tell them we're shooting something, I need y'all to sit down. So that's pretty much what it was for me, and I enjoyed every minute of it, you know?
Wow, that is awesome. And you would say, even though you already had all of that craft and know-how in your pinky, the training came from when you were at the Fortune 500 company, how to just like whip certain things together under, I don't want to say stress, but under a crunch, right?
I actually, when I started out at DOD, I was young, and I was running cases then. And then I saw how, I actually wrote, when I was there, I wrote a process and procedure manual. And I did it because there wasn't one. So that's where I got the headspace to say, you know, that I could do it. And they actually implemented my process and procedure manual because it's like it wasn't done. And I just jumped in, and I like processes. I like to be able to see how things are supposed to be run. Because I was working with an older group of individuals who are not as computer savvy. So I broke it down into layman terms. And so that's where, like, my background is it's like a hodgepodge of everything, like, that I've ever needed to learn. All the way down to sales and engineering. Like, my background is really, I always say that the higher power had a plan and made sure that everything that I've ever walked into, I was supposed to walk into.
Right.
You know, I sat down and I wrote it down. I was like, why am I, and sometimes, like my dad used to tell me, don't ask why, ask why not.
Right.
So,
Mm-hmm.
it did bring me to my point, like, oh my gosh, so everything that I've been through career-wise has groomed me to be great at what I do now.
Yeah,
From
absolutely. I mean,
contract.
you baked, you have your catering, you have event planning, you have
Yep.
script writing, you have marketing, you have public relations, you have branding. Like, you have everything that you need to make your companies thrive, because at the end of the day, if one of your employees bail out on you, guess what? It's not the end of it. You know how to do it yourself, and you're still going to keep it moving. Absolutely. Absolutely. So, do you have any tours with your comedians? Do you do like a tour? Do you have any tours? Do you like tour like DC, Virginia, or whatever?
Putting it together.
Okay. Okay. And so, do you have, I know that you said tours are coming up, but do you have like any one-on-one shows that just, will appear like once a month? You have shows featuring new comedians?
Yeah, I have an open mic.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it's open mic. It's twice a month. I'll be picking that back up in October. This is my birthday month. September is my birthday month, so it's my month of rebirth and launching things. So I'll be picking that back up twice a month in October, where there's been some amazing comedians who's come to my open mic and rocked it out and have shown off and have been great. So I'm excited about that part. I'm excited to get back in the swing of hosting the open mics again. I do host like larger shows. I'm working on some things now to get the budget, the sponsorship for those, because I want to bring, in this area, we have the same comedians. I want to bring other comedians from other regions so that everybody can see the funny.
Got you.
Yeah.
Well, I'm excited because October is my birthday month, so.
Okay, yeah, we will celebrate the whole month.
I do celebrate the whole month. People may think that's a little extra, but it's not extra. Like, my mom carried me for 9 months. Why can't I celebrate? Why can't I celebrate the whole month of October? I believe in that strongly. So yeah. So you have something else, and it's called Urban Flight Foundation. Tell us a little bit about that.
That's my community organization. I'm actually going to gear up to start doing voter registration. I'm nonpartisan, so I don't have a party that I gravitate to, but I have to let people know who's on the ballot, what time they can go vote, when can they register or change their address and stuff like that for voting, and also any new public service programs that are new and are out there that they normally wouldn't be notified of, they'll get those.
Yeah, this is going to be a very, very, very interesting time for voting. And I commend you of just getting people, riled up and ready to vote. Like, it doesn't matter who you are, just go vote. That's how I feel. I mean, we have to get better. And I don't know what the climate is in you're in the Northern Virginia. That wouldn't be the DMV, but that's just the Virginia,
There's
DC
so many
metro
people running
area.
right now. It's crazy. I can't keep track.
That is so true. I wish people would just catch the concept of, I know that Chandra's running, and guess what? Let me get behind her so I can, so it can be more. It's like, I think it just weakens the vote. Like, I don't understand why everybody and their mom, I mean, I understand why they want to vote, why they want to run, excuse me. But I think that sometimes it just spreads whatever party way too thin. And all of those votes can go to a stronger party if you all get behind the stronger candidate. Like, I don't get it, but it's going to be a time. So what blueprint has Urban Flight already created to get the people a lot more excited about doing the votes?
I host different voter registrations at the library.
Oh, nice.
And it actually helps because a lot of times families do participate and go to the library, and families do a lot of stuff. You know, they have the library is like the epicenter of a lot of people. So it actually makes sense to host them there and invite other people, and you know, it does. It helps a whole lot.
Do you find a lot of young people coming out now because they're extremely interested in changing the climate?
These young people are tired.
Yes.
Okay, they are exhausted. They are tired, and they have the chance to go vote now, and that's what they're doing now. They are voting. They are letting their voice be heard. They are asking the hard questions that no one really wants to ask, and I'm loving it. And I am excited because a lot of times people forget that these children have voices.
Right.
So,
shout out to the millennials, because they're changing the thing. I mean, I'm Generation X, but with the millennials and the generation that's right up under them, I'm just saying they don't. I have to say, some people frown upon them, but they play no games. That's how I look at it. Like you said, they go straight bullseye. Like, they want to know just firm answers. Like, okay, enough of that long story about it. What do you have for me? What are you going to do? And that's what I respect them. I respect them.
If they don't own up, if they don't do what they said they were going to do, they're positive of it.
Yeah.
These kids don't have to know no problem saying, you said do it, and apparently you didn't, so let's fix it.
Yeah. Yep. I have to absolutely positively agree. I think I'm really loving this whole urban flight information foundation stuff that you're doing. And the reason why I say that is because, not saying that the other things that you're doing, they're amazing. They really, really are. But right now, we're at a point where even people, like my 7-year-old's talking. He's like, Mom, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, what? And it's like people are just highly affected about what's happening. And we want change. We want change, across the board. And I'm just really impressed by that. I know that you are doing the things at the library. Do you have anything that you want to shout out to the listeners for them to keep their eye open for Urban Flight Foundation?
Be on the lookout for a pop-up voter registration drive. I always do the National Voter Registration Drive every year. So be on the lookout for that as well. But yes, I will be popping up at everywhere.
Awesome.
Trending out, who's voting, who's doing what, who's on the ballot. I will be bringing attention to that always. Because National Voter Registration Day is the 24th of this month. So definitely got to make sure that I get that all the time. I always sign up, and I'm always with that. I'm always...
Got you. Very good information. So let's change gears. So you're a publicist, you have your own consulting firm, and you're also your own client, right? And as we were talking, it's always like that gray area, that blurred line, that fuzzy space of how we can, promote our own work, promote the things that we're doing, in decency and order, I should say, where it doesn't look like where someone's like, aren't you supposed to be promoting other people? You find it very difficult sometimes, but you have great things that you're doing. So for those people who are listening and who are probably interested in being in our fields, but they too have a lot of things going on, what advice do you have for them as far as trying to promote your own self and promote your own brand in the midst of being in public relations?
Own yourself. Own your commitment. Don't look at everything else that's going around. Like, promote yourself and be get comfortable with doing that.
Right. Absolutely.
I just think that a lot of times we forget about ourselves. I know I have.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I usually forget
Mm-hmm.
that this is my first, and you know, this is like the second time I'm out talking about myself in general.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah, it's a space where you have to remember that this is how I look at it. If I'm working with you, if you're my client, the floor is all yours. But if it's a time where I need to promote my brand, then the floor is all mine. And you can do it. You can do it where it's like maybe you'll say, Portia, you know what? Let me promote your podcast. I'll talk about that. Or Portia, let me promote, your, I don't know, your interior design or whatever it is. It's always good to buddy up with someone that believes in your stuff just like you do, because you're your own client. You're your first client. That's how I look at it. If I don't market what I do and who I'm with, or even my own clients, if I don't market them, then how am I going to get more work? Truthfully, that's just kind of how I look at it. But I think that this is a great conversation to have, because I don't know if a lot of publicists believe in it. I think they believe you just wear black and stay behind the scenes, and then that's the end of it. But I personally think that's false. At 45 years old, I think that's false. I think that there was a time we did that, but now, the day and age that we're in, it's a way that you could put your work and your talents out there, as well as your clients and your work speaking for itself. So, do you agree with that? Oh, I think we lost her. Her phone's... There we go.
A lot of times get stuck in that mentality that we have to be behind the scenes. We don't have to support each other.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty much what it for them to support and keep it going sometimes.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yes, the support is important. I mean, I don't understand personally the reason for not supporting each other. I mean, there's enough out here for us to eat. There is enough for us to have a sister or brother or sister bond. I can't take your money. You can't take mine. I'm not you. You're not me. You have strengths in places that I'm not strong in, and I don't mind teaching you, and you don't mind teaching me. And I think that if we get that mindset as a group of people in this industry, then we will be so much better than feeling as though everyone is chasing after the same crumbs under the same table. Like, my shoulders always shrug at that concept. I mean, it's all good. We all can survive. So.
And that's how I feel. And this is where I kind of, I love the brotherhood that being an entrepreneur creates, and it's just, but even though we're doing the same thing, we're not doing the same thing. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like that's how that, because you have your own special sauce. I have my own special sauce. You're never going to find the duplicate unless you are a clone or a carbon copy.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You know?
Mm-hmm.
So,
mm-hmm. I always tell people that's why there's a Burger King across the street from a doggone McDonald's. Like, people have choices.
I was just saying that. I was saying that to my better half the other day. If you look, all these gas stations, there's 4 of them. Mm-hmm. And not one of them is talking bad about the other one. They got the same stuff. I mean, it's just never once did you hear about gas stations eating each other.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You know?
Mm-hmm.
You never see that.
Well, I think the thing that you said about 5 minutes ago is really true. Just if you stay focused on yourself, you know what I'm saying? And be the best you that you can be. I mean, I'm sitting here in shock and awe. Like, I love to laugh, but I'm not throwing no comedy show. Like, I'm coming to Virginia. I'm not doing that. And so this is where I cheer my sister on. Like, hey guys, if you're in the DC, Virginia area, go check out my girl Chandra Gore. You know what I mean? Like, that's what you do. And like, it's all good, because maybe I might 5 years from like, girl, I'm going to throw a little comedy thing. You'd be like, okay, because you know that you're well seasoned in it. I'm just admiring you and learning, but that doesn't ever mean I'm going to take anything away from you. But I just want us to be a better us and just support each other. And I support her. So, and I'm all the way up in the higher part of DMV. And I'm just saying, we just all have to just do better as a group of people, as women, as Black women. We just have to make sure we support each other. Absolutely.
You know what? I will say that's where I think we disconnect that, because as Black women, sometimes we are the worst to each other, and I just wish we could change that.
Mm-hmm.
I really wish we could change that. It's hurtful and it's disheartening, but it's something that we rarely talk about. We talk about the empowerment and my sister's keeper and all that other stuff, but we don't talk about the mean girl clique that exists, or how to change it.
And I think the only way to talk about it is just to bring it up. I mean, I do. I just bring it up, and I talk to people in LA. I talk to people in Atlanta. I talk to people in New York. I talk to people everywhere, whether it's through text, whether it's DM. It doesn't matter, because the way I look at it, God can give it to me and he could take it away. There's no big me. There's no little you. It doesn't even matter. And if I'm wrong ever, tell me. I don't know what I'm doing unless you tell me sometimes. So like if I'm not calling you back fast enough, it probably has nothing to do with you. It probably has everything to do with me dealing with my everyday. And I think that's another thing too is, Chandra, social media destroys a lot of people.
Oh, yeah.
Because they just are looking at you with this person, you with that person. And I always tell people, I did say on my episode last week, I'm the first one to say, do not, please don't get caught up on my social media posts, because you have no idea the story before that 2-second photo. You have no idea.
Yeah.
You have no idea.
It's like, I always get, well, you're busy, you're here, you're there. I said, if you look at the dates on this, I'm working my behind off till 4 in the morning sometimes.
Right.
And I'll go to an event just because I have to go. But most of the time, I'm trying to find different minds for things for my clients. And I'm in the house.
Right.
Like, I am home, barefoot, hair wrapped up, looking for different opportunities, reading reports, reviewing their social media, looking at their different business plans, and trying to figure out how to make you more money. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, but you're busy. When you call me and I'm out doing something, that's because you want me on your time.
Right.
If I put the schedule out there, this is when you book your time to talk to me. Please do that. Do that so that you have your own allocated time. I'm not available 24/7 because I listen. Just because, and that's probably why I got away from posting what I do, because I get a lot. Like I have people who have a lot to say. Well, you're always busy. Sometimes I suffer from I have severe depression and a bipolar disorder. Right. Sometimes I'm stuck in bed, but I have to get up and do things. My anxiety kicks my behind sometimes, but I get up and I do what's necessary for my clients, and then I go back and I try to pull myself out of these head spaces that I'm in sometimes. But to not ask, hey, how are you doing?
Right.
Go into the things you need. It's what we do sometimes is a thankless job. And they want instantaneous results, not realizing how much hard work we put in just to repackage people so that they are viewed as interesting and popping enough for producers to pick up. Like, you may think that you're great, but we have to repackage you, shine you up.
Right.
Add a little bit of glitter and some sparkle and some razzle dazzle. Okay?
I say
your eyes so that they will say, oh my gosh, I have to have them on my show. And that's where people forget what we do as a public.
I don't think it's not that they forget, girl. I think they just blatantly just don't know. And to them, it's To everyone viewing, it's so glamorous. To us, every single last one of us that I talk to, we're all like our heads on the pillow, like, oh my God. Like, I tell people, I said, listen, you know what we are? The best way to describe our profession is we're beautiful liars. What you do good, we make it look great. What you do great, we make it look fantastic. What you do bad, we make it look good. I said it's staging. We're storytellers. We have to tell your story so people can give a crap about what you do. That's just really the bottom line. And so when
that's what it
is. Yeah, that's really all it is. It's like I'm just jazzing up your juice so somebody can want to drink your Kool-Aid. That's really what that's all it is. That's really, really all it is. And I was laughing so hard because literally, girl, yesterday I ran into the Target and I tell you, like, I had on a t-shirt and some yoga pants and flip-flop. I just ran in to get some stuff and ran out. And of course I see someone, you're never supposed to do that, but I'm like, oh, ain't nobody's paying me no attention. And they're like, oh my God, you're actually here in town? You're never here. And I'm like, what? I'm I'm just never around you. That's girl, you everywhere. And then they had the nurse say, where are you going to be this week? And I'm like, well, I'm not going to be here, but you just asked me on the same time I'm not going to be here. But that was so funny to me because they are stuck. That's, you know what we should do? We should do a recap, girl. Stop getting stuck on social media. That's all I want is that's the devil.
It's just how people appear to be. It's like they don't understand the work. Oh my gosh, it's tired. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
It is. Listen, sometimes I want to go get my nails done and just zone out. And
Uh-oh. Okay, guys, just bear with us. She's calling from Virginia, so sometimes it goes in and out. Okay, there we go.
Okay. So, yeah, it becomes and look at that.
Yeah, I mean, people they don't realize that pictures are just mere seconds of all the work we do. Like, social media really isn't anything. I don't want to say anything, but behind the press releases and the pitching and, the meetings and, setting up, just...
I had to tell someone about pitches. I said, let me explain. I put a lot of work in writing my pitches, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because you don't want to just have a general pitch because they could take the idea and put somebody else in their slot. So I actually write my pitches so that they are tailored that only my client can come and talk about that subject. And you have people who are going on and they're not subject matter experts, but they just want to be on. So they have to do the research and talk about the subject, and then it sounds inauthentic. I like my clients to feel organically there. Like the information will flow so easily like water. That's how I like the things to go. I don't want them, here's all the stats and read it off like it's a book report. And no, I want them to, girl.
I know we can go on. Listen, y'all hear us, right? We done forgot it was a podcast. Like we just we forgot we had an interview going on. We just having a moment. But y'all are so used to that this is how my podcast goes anyway. We have girlfriend time or whatever. But I'm going to ask you 2 more questions and then you can give your bit of advice, but just on a fun hee ha ha moment. So I know that you bake. What is your favorite thing to bake?
My favorite thing to bake, is there's 2 of them. I have this cheesecake, this sweet potato cheesecake with a ginger snap crust and a pecan a pecan and caramel glaze on top.
Girl.
And then I have a hummingbird cake.
Oh,
I can't eat it because I'm allergic to banana. Hummingbird cake. It's bananas. It is walnut. It has coconut, and it also has like a cream cheese glaze that I put over it. Yeah.
I've never heard. Listen, born and raised all my life in Jersey, and I've just been relocated to Delaware because they told us no taxes for a couple of years, but that's beside the point. But I've never in my whole 45 years of living heard of nobody's hummingbird cake. So that's never. That's a Virginia thing.
Make you one.
Yes, you will, honey. Hummingbird. You're going to hum that bird right on up here.
Yeah, because it has bananas and pineapples. It's a spice cake, but I do mine just a little bit different.
Wow. So you guys heard it first. Hummingbird cake and a ginger snap. You said cheesecake?
It's a sweet potato cheesecake with a ginger snap crust and a pecan and caramel topping.
And so for anybody who wants to order those, make sure you connect with her. Because the holiday season is here, and that goes perfectly with your holiday cheer in the mug. So that sounds wonderful. So let me ask you one last and final question. What is your advice for anybody listening to this podcast who wants to get started owning their own business, and they too feel like they just don't know where to start or break free from corporate America?
Well, a shameless plug here. I have a book that's called The Dreamers Workbook. Mm-hmm. So you could actually start writing your ideas down on, what you want to do. I would start by writing out your 3 to 5 business plan. Mm-hmm. 3 years, 5 years, 7 years. Mm-hmm. Because a lot can change. So I would start off by saying, where do you want to end up? Mm-hmm. And from there, you just need to put it in front. And then figure out how to monetize those things. So look at the individual of money, because money comes as long as you love what you do. So,
right.
That's it. Because once you, it's on and popping out.
Awesome.
Everything to gain after you find out what you love and what you want to do.
Gotcha. Awesome. And that's perfect advice. And that wasn't a shameless plug. That was a very necessary plug for a tool that they can use. So, hey, give everybody your social media and email information so they can stay in contact with you as well as order those baking goods that you make so well.
So you can find me on social media at Chandra Gore Consulting. Also, that's Facebook and Instagram. You can find me on my other page on Amazon at Chandra Gore. On Facebook and Instagram and Twitter. Gmail Comedy, that's on all social media. And the Urban Fight Foundation on Facebook. And the website is Chandra Gore Consulting. There's a link to all of my sites there as well.
Awesome. And if for whatever reason anyone missed some of it, because I know we had just a couple, not too many, maybe like 1 or 2 spotty areas, and you weren't able to hear all of her social media outlets as well as her email information, just shoot me an email at Portia@PurposePRAgency.com, and I will be able to send you over her information, or you can just send a DM in my inbox at Purpose PR Agency, and I will make sure that I will send all that information over to you as well. So as always, I want to thank my listeners. I'm so blessed to have so many listeners that tune in every Thursday to this podcast, and I always give everyone, Chandra, the same advice because it can never get old. And that advice is when you walk in the room and when you walk out of the room, whatever anyone whispers about you is your brand. So make sure you walk in purpose. Chandra, thank you so much for having girlfriend time on this podcast.
Thank you. I really appreciate you sharing your platform. I really appreciated it.
Oh, thank you so, so much. And it's not just for me and you, but it's absolutely for the listeners to learn and take their stuff to the next level. I've always been just blessed to have people to give amazing advice and fantastic jewels to help enrich them. So thank you again. And as I always tell everyone, make sure you tune in every Thursday at 7 o'clock because you never know who's going to be my special guest. Thanks for listening. Be blessed. Until next time, bye-bye. What another amazing episode this week. Thank you so much for joining us. And be sure to follow us on all of our social media platforms at Purpose PR Agency, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Be sure to tune in next week at 7 o'clock. We look forward to connecting with you.